Axis and median faces. When the leader line arrow is indicated in line with the dimension line, the geometrical tolerance applies to the axis or median face. The form deviations of the generator lines or surfaces can vary and may have larger deviations in terms of straightness or flatness. When the leader line arrow is indicated on the center line in the drawing, the geometrical tolerance applies to all axes or median faces represented by that center line. Screw threads, gears and splines. When specifying tolerances for orientation or location in screw threads, they typically apply to the axis of the thread. This axis is derived from the pitch cylinder unless otherwise specified. For gears and splines, when indicating tolerances of orientation or location, it is important to designate the specific feature of the gear or spline to which they apply. This could be the pitch diameter, the major diameter, or the minor diameter, among others. It ensures that the tolerance is appropriately applied to the intended feature of the gear or spline. Angularity tolerances and angular dimension tolerances. Angular dimension tolerances are commonly expressed using angular grades or minutes in relation to the nominal angular size. For example, a tolerance might be specified as 45 degree plus minus 30 minutes. Angular dimension tolerances establish a range of angles. For instance, a tolerance of 44 degree 30 minutes to 45 degree 30 minutes would define the acceptable variation in the general direction of actual lines or line elements of surfaces such as contacting lines in section planes. Twist tolerance. In certain cases, instead of specifying a flatness tolerance, some national standards such as the German standards DIN 1748 and DIN 176215 for aluminium sections define a twist tolerance. This means that the allowable deviation in the twist or rotational alignment of the section is specified rather than focusing on the flatness of the surface. The twist tolerance sets the acceptable limits for the twisting of the section according to the specific standards mentioned. One end of the section should make contact with the ground as perfectly as possible with the minimum requirement for any rocking motion. The twist deviation is then measured at the other end of the section as the maximum distance between that end and the ground. The twist tolerance specified in the standards represents the maximum permissible value for the twist deviation. In other words, the twist of the section should not exceed this specified tolerance value. The aim is to ensure that the section remains within acceptable limits of deviation from a perfectly aligned position when placed on a flat surface.